Welcome all to, is this episode 8?
Yeah.
This is episode 8. Yeah. I love how I have to ask you guys in the intro of every fucking podcast episode what episode it is. So I think it's 8.
Eventually we're going to just have to stop doing that. We're going to be like, this is episode 600 and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Hey, I'd be totally down to get there. I listened to another podcast and they're in like the 480s. And they're like, welcome to 487? 487! It's like, oh my god. But yeah, so we actually have the full crew today.
Oh.
Plus Jimmy.
It's a little crowded in here.
Jimmy has come back from the dead.
We don't clap.
It's hot in here.
It's not too bad.
It's because I'm Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. It just kind of heats up.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
It's like nothing to do with this scalding hot coffee.
Or turning the fan off.
Or turning the fan off.
That it's 98 degrees outside.
Yeah. So, just as a little upfront, Kevin and Jimmy are pretty under the weather today.
They look like shit.
Well, I mean, it was more of my respiratory, but thanks.
We both look like garbage.
They
look worse than they sound. So just to let you know, we're gonna make them talk anyways. But
that's what happens when you swap spit and all that stuff. Man.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what caused it.
Yeah. Let's hear more about that.
It's a whole new kind of podcast now.
Just talk about man love. Heterosexual man love.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is getting away from us real fast. But yeah, it's kind of the agenda for today. Not a huge amount of news in gaming. But we've got Jimmy here is going to tell us all about Zelda and the Switch because we still haven't really talked about that on our podcast. Yep. So I've been playing Mass Effect, so we'll talk about that. Yep. Mason finally got Horizon.
Yeah, I stopped playing Hitman for once. It's a nice change.
Weird, I know.
It's all I talk about.
That's like literally, that's been the tradition with Mason.
Just
like,
Hitman.
What are you playing? Oh, Hitman.
Hitman.
Have you got to the next episode?
No. Still just playing the first one.
Episode 2.
Hey man, you're like it's like you're rationing.
It's good.
You're in
that's what I'm doing.
You're in post-nuclear war game rationing.
I want it to always be there when I have nothing else to play.
That does make sense. It sounds like a good game to kind of.
It's really good. Man.
That's what I'm missing right now because I'm playing like all. We'll start with what I'm playing. What we're playing like normal. And I'm like juggling Mass Effect. I'm juggling Mass Effect, Horizon, Elder Scrolls Online, which I still haven't played in a long time. A vacation to Oregon and going home, and Total War. Warhammer, and like I'm just there's all these games I'm playing. I don't have time. It's like we're in the middle of November and it's March.
I know.
All these games.
It's crazy.
It's a good sign though.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but it's like I don't get to play very much during the week, and these kind of games. So I get home after I'm doing the whole gym thing now too. So we're making this a gym podcast all the way through.
Yeah, I know. Right? They take time, like time investment. Like
it does.
Those games don't. You can't just sit down and play for like an hour.
Exactly. It's like by the time I made dinner and we like watch a show or whatever, we got back. It's like 9:15. Like I'm not playing Mass Effect for 45 to an hour and a half. Like It's like, what am I gonna do?
Right,
So it's been tough, but I played a bunch of it on Thursday night and a bunch of it on Monday night. I'm like 4 hours in or so. But those are all the games that I'm currently playing. What are you playing right now, Mason?
More recently, a lot of Horizon. Maybe not a lot, but I'm like 10 hours in.
Okay.
I think it's just about where you are.
You're almost, I'm like 11:50 or something like that. So I'm just barely ahead of you.
We were talking about it earlier, and I just beat the mission that you're on. So we're like right in the same area. When I get the chance, that's what I've been playing. Same kind of thing though. Is I hate playing it when I only have fucking 30 minutes.
It's such a huge game.
You have enough time to like talk to a couple people.
Has it lived up to all my hype that I gave it to so far?
So far, yeah, I like it a lot. You're right. It's gorgeous. Really, really, really good looking game. It plays really well.
It's clean as fuck, right? There's like no bugs in that game.
Yeah, and they're still patching it. Not that I've needed anything to be patched in particular that I can think of, but it plays really well. It's a lot of fun. It's very deep.
Is it harder than you expected? It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
I'm playing on hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm stupid, so I like to do that.
I'm stupid. I just like pain.
I like pain. Masochist.
I want to know more about how that affects it. Because like usually, if I love a game, I'll go back and play it on hard. Like all the Dead Space games, I've gone back and played them on hard. Yeah. But like the first time through, I just like to go normal because I feel like that's how they sort of. I can't imagine playing that game on hard because I get my ass kicked.
So my biggest thing is like I farm a lot just to level up and get my skills going, and I don't remember all the names of all the bots, unfortunately. But like, fucking, god damn it, there's like one that you cannot ever get away from. Like, no matter what
Is
direction.
it the Sabretooth one?
Maybe.
Are they? They're not massive like the one on the cover, but they're like a medium size. They're big and they go.
Yeah. You
can hear them from a long ways away.
Fast as shit too.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're fucking like giant saber-toothed tigers.
My biggest thing was like, okay, it'll come at me, I'll roll, I'll shoot, whatever, repeat. It just doesn't work. You roll and it's like, nope, and it just jumps right on top of you. So you have to actually get a plan together.
Yeah. You have to you gotta kind of pre-plan how you're gonna fight stuff.
Yeah, what I like is you can use the terrain a lot too. Like, there's obviously like rocks and trees you can climb and whatnot all over the place. So you have to go up and you have to elevate and kind of use your altitude to your advantage and jump off and shoot stuff in slow motion, which is really cool. And I don't know, it plays really well. I've been playing. Sorry to go on so long, but been playing that, and then Kevin and I played a little GTA 5 last night, which is a nice change.
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
How is that doing? Online? GTA Online?
It's great. It's still tons of people are still playing, of course. And,
we had like 35 people in our lobby or something.
And I was telling Mason last night how initially when I got it GTA 5 day one, and I tried to play that first week, I tried to play GTA Online. It was broken. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, my experience this time around is completely different because I didn't have that frustration and all that. So I'm like, I get in there, I'm like, this is smooth, this is fun.
Load time.
You guys playing on Xbox or
PS4?
PlayStation 4.
PS4.
Yeah. So load times are still kind of weird. It takes a long ass time.
Weirdly long.
Yeah.
Really
long. I don't know if it's a console thing or if it's just like the scale of the game.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like it was like a 360 load screen.
Connecting to the server and all that
something
stuff like that.
Once you get in, though,
once you get in, everything's smooth.
It actually works.
Right.
You weren't getting dropped from the game.
It's just a nice change.
But we've been playing that a lot, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a refreshing thing where you can just like be mindless and go in there and shoot some stuff and play with other people.
You don't need hours to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Jump into a game in a couple minutes.
Yeah, rob some stores and stuff like
stores.
Yeah, and like do some missions and stuff. But it's fun. I've been enjoying it. So, but
that's really cool.
Yeah, for me, other than that, I really haven't been playing much. Just Overwatch and GTA 5. That's pretty much it. So,
how was Overwatch doing? Like, I obviously it's doing great.
Yeah,
but
they added a new hero
this
last
week.
Yeah, her name's Orisa.
Yeah,
so that was the robot tank character. She isn't playable yet in competitive, but she is just for like messing around and just like
practicing.
Casual play.
So why is that? Do they have to work on like balancing?
No, not that. I think that they do this on purpose because like obviously if you put it in competitive, whoever plays, I want to pick the new character. They may not even know how to play it.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they're like, you know what? We're gonna give you guys like a week or two to get used to the character, then we'll unlock it for competitive play.
Okay.
So I think that's actually super smart.
That's really smart
because obviously people will be like, oh, I'm a pro. I know how to play her. Immediately pick.
Well, and it's kind of the same thing with like MMOs. It reminds me of ESO with in June when they're coming out with the Morrowind expansion, they're releasing a new playable class.
Yeah.
And like in MMOs when they release a new class, everyone makes a new character.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do it. I mean, I want to try it. So
exactly. So
it's the same thing where they need to make sure that people know how to use it.
So that was a great move by Blizzard to do that.
Yeah. They have just A+ across the board.
I was talking to a few people at work that would call themselves professional at Overwatch, but from both of them, they were telling me that this new character is the most balanced a new character has been introduced into the game. They're like honestly, I don't think they should tweak anything about it. It feels super fair.
Yeah,
they're so good at just getting all the details and all the mechanics for new stuff they implement right the first time. Maybe just a few tweaks. Yeah, they're so good at that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
In your opinion, like, do you think I've missed the train on this? Is it still open for people to come in and play, even though we have a really established group of pro players now?
It is.
Yeah.
Because I still really have every intent. The only reason I haven't bought it is because I know I'm gonna pay for it. And I'm not gonna be able to. I'm so overwhelmed. But I still have every intention of buying that game and playing it.
I play Overwatch maybe once a month, one night with Kevin.
Yeah.
And I can jump in and still be competitive. Yeah. And I can still get plays of the games, and I can still get...
That's really cool.
Be top of the charts.
Yeah. Because that's like an intimidating thing with like multiplayer games.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I think...
For Honor.
I think Blizzard excels at the the fact that it makes it accessible to people.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned in the previous podcast, like there's just so many different ways to play each different character.
Right.
There are like different play styles and all that. So whatever you like playing, you just go in there and just play. Like Jimmy likes to play like.
I've always liked
defensive
support.
heroes
I like
or something
support
like that.
stuff. I like
see,
the healers and the.
Me too.
Sorry, I don't know what's the guy on the skates that
Oh,
has the
Lucio.
sound. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
Lucio.
those support characters a lot.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
enjoying that a
Yeah.
ton when we played the beta.
In one of the few games where I feel like the healer gets as much credit as they
Yeah.
deserve,
Yes.
which is really cool. And
Yeah.
I didn't play very much of Overwatch, but
Yeah.
from what I did play, I noticed as well, like, if you do a lot of damage to someone, but someone else kills them,
Yeah.
you still get credit for a kill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is
'Cause
crazy.
it's,
Like,
it's
why other
not-
games don't do that, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
because it's not about like kills or how many kills you get. It's about teamwork and all that stuff. And I think that they've perfected like what multiplayer should be.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
so-
I mean, other games they'll give you like an assist bonus or something like
Yeah,
that. But we
yeah,
play
exactly.
games where you do 99% of the damage on a guy, and then someone else will run up and backstab him, and you kind of feel
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and there's so many times where a support class makes play the game or
Yeah.
makes
yeah,
MVP.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And sometimes the whole reason your team won was because of the healer or something. So
Yeah.
every class you play in there has a chance of being the most valuable player for
Yeah,
that
it's crazy,
round.
yeah.
Just-
Yeah.
But like you're saying with For Honor, if you stop playing For Honor for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
you're gonna forget.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah, that's really really hard. That's a game that if For Honor had been out for 6 months and you were new and you wanted to jump into online,
Yeah.
that's gonna
Unforgiving.
be very hard. Very hard.
Also, it does hurt that the online multiplayer doesn't work.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
can get
yeah,
into
for
a
sure.
game. Yeah,
For sure.
it's-
That's
yeah.
tough.
but then Overwatch.
Yeah, I know.
I'm being really sarcastic.
Yeah, no.
No, but you're not though. That's
it's true.
100%
It's insane.
It's
I
ridiculous.
mean, I feel like everyone's been turning it in. Everyone who
Yeah.
bought it physically
Yep.
has been turning it in, and I'm like, I feel like that last play session that we had
Yeah.
really kind of broke the back, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I just feel like
I think it did.
6 straight tries to get into a game, 6
Yeah.
straight fails, and I just felt like, no, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
And it's sad because we
because
wanted
it's a
to
cool game.
Yeah, we wanted to support an IP, and we did. We
We
bought it.
did. I bought it. I don't regret buying it for a
I
second.
don't regret it at all. It's just it's hard to play a game that is focused on multiplayer and not have the
support.
stuff, the support, the
Dedicated.
the dedicated servers.
And just the layered,
Yeah.
for me, the layered insult of all of those microtransactions. In
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if your
Crazy.
game doesn't even work and I paid full price for it and you're still trying to get me to buy shit,
It's crazy.
I just can't get behind that. I can't get behind that.
No.
So what are you playing right now, Jimmy?
Well, I just finished last week. Pretty much all that I feel like I'm gonna do in Zelda for the time being.
Nice.
I
We'll
sunk,
get into that in here in a little bit.
yeah, I sunk somewhere between 70 or 80 hours into it. So I've done enough. I think the main story takes about 30
Okay.
30 to 40 hours to
Pretty average
if
for a
you-
big RPG.
Yeah, and so I've done about half time main story, half time side questing. I feel like I've seen a lot. There was an offer, but I'll get into it. But I also feel like I barely scratched the surface.
Sure.
Wow. So I am currently right now playing Nier, and we just had a conversation before
Oh,
this
yeah.
started. Nier Automata or Automata. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's one of the two.
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I've only sunk about 3 hours into that, so I don't have a whole lot to say except that mechanically it feels really good and it's interesting, and I could talk about it more later. But
I feel like that was like the Neo of this month as far as like these games. There's just been these games that
yeah,
don't have a big push behind them, and they show up
kinda
and
big
like
surprise,
boom, and
yeah.
everyone's like, "Whoa, this is really
yeah.
good."
I actually had no intentions of picking. I don't even think I knew about the new
Yeah.
Nier game until maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah,
And I didn't even follow it at all until I started watching some videos on it and saw some reviews. And
yeah.
was
I
like,
just
"Oh,
learned about
shit."
it through one of the podcast people that I listen
Yeah.
to, you know, and
Yeah.
the YouTubers that I watch, and he was just a big fan of it, and so I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks, and I'm not much. I don't play like a lot of like really anime-looking Japanese games, but
Yeah.
that's actually one that I'm thinking about playing
Yeah.
at some point. Again, I'm going to play Neo first, and dear God, that's,
Yes.
I can't handle all these games.
Neo's fantastic. Yeah, man, that's been a struggle for me too, especially with having the kid. Is all the games that have come out this year are big open world or
Yeah,
sandbox
just
games,
these massive time sink games.
and like yeah, it's so tough to like dedicate any time to.
Yeah,
these.
I mean, it's tough for me, let alone you.
Oh yeah, no,
You've got the band, the little one, and a full-time job.
I mean, we talked about this because like the Switch is kind of like perfect fit for you.
Yes,
I will talk about that.
So cool.
I will absolutely talk about how that system is perfect for.
I've got a bunch of questions for you.
For sure.
I mean, let's go and start.
Well, before we start, I have 3 quick news things because I just want to do a little bit of news, and I remember 2 of the things that I pulled up. We'll go through them real fast. Just real quick, last month in advance, some interesting shit. We just talked about this for a second. Ghost Recon Wildlands was the biggest launch of 2017 so far as sales.
Very strange.
That was not on any of our radars at all.
No.
I think it's one of those games that kind of tailors to those people that like H1Z1, kind of like open world survival, just kind of do whatever you want. In a sense, it's kind of like the GTA Online,
right?
You know,
yeah.
You just kind of
it's a military shooter too, which always does well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the other interesting thing is it's the second highest so far in the window of time since it's been released. It's the second highest selling Tom Clancy game ever.
Huh.
All the Rainbow Sixes, all the Ghost Recons,
which is surprising to me, which is ridiculous.
Blows it away. The Division's the only other one that sold better. I just thought it was really crazy. And then just go. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I wonder who's playing it. Because as you mentioned that, like it being like H1Z1, I just pulled up Twitch to try to see like if it was in the top whatever. Because they show off the games that are popular right now, and I can't find it.
It's not even on there.
I think it's the demographic.
Just the Call of Duty crowd.
Yeah. I think it's the demographic that buys military shooters, which are the honestly, it's the casual, in my opinion, casual gamers.
Yeah.
And the 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
My buddy at work was we have an instant messaging system, internal instant messaging. He was talking to me about this girl that sits behind him.
Yeah.
And her and her boyfriend, they play like all these like really shitty mobile games.
Yeah.
And they buy the only games they buy are Call of Duty. All the They're like the definition of like the problem with games.
Yes.
I mean, she's a wonderful person, but it's like that's all they buy.
Yeah.
And they have like multiple copies of all the Call of Duty games, and like they don't even play the single player. That's just multiplayer. It's like all they do.
That me and Kevin work with a girl that does the same thing.
Yeah. It's Call of Duty,
and that's why
those have to be the people that are buying Ghost Recon. I assume.
Yeah. That's why I refer to those people as casual gamers.
Yeah,
there are hardcore gamers.
And we don't mean that in a derogatory sense necessarily.
No. If you're only buying those games, like then you're just casual about gaming.
The only problem I have with them is not what they're doing, but the problem I have is that companies as a whole they don't think of individual, and companies are stupid. Like they want
to make money.
All they do is just design shit for this like crowd of people that aren't really. You know, it just doesn't really work.
The thing is that crowd is huge.
Yeah,
they want to make money. So I get it, but
I'm really glad that these other games are still selling so well that are not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
For Honor was the highest selling game in February, which I found to be
good. That's good.
I'm glad. I mean, they don't release numbers, or I haven't seen numbers, so who knows? Like how much that really means.
Yeah,
but that's still cool that a brand new IP that's like nothing out there was selling well. The list.
Yeah.
The list for this month, we'll go from 10 is Infinite Warfare.
What the fuck?
Number 10.
Wow. Good for them.
Number 9. I don't know if you guys have seen reviews for this, but 1-2 Switch is not.
Oh, wow.
Woo! So,
I mean, they don't really have much of a choice. There's
nothing else. But every review that I've either read or watched has been like, this should have been packed in for free. And the fact that it's $50 is like criminal.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
You played it.
I will not. No. I will not ever buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were in the box, it should be like Wii Sports.
Yeah.
It should have been.
Yeah.
And they're charging $50 for it. So that's interesting. Number 9. Number 8 is Rocket League. Still selling. Yeah. That's so cool.
That's so impressive.
You guys have to see that documentary. If you
I watched the show.
So good. FIFA 17 at 7. FIFA's always on there. 6, Nier Automata.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And that
number 6.
That the original Nier wasn't popular in the United States, so for the sequel to come out and do as well. Honestly, I just think it's the raving reviews it's been getting is why it's high on there. Because I don't think only hardcore Nier fans were excited for this. I mean, a lot of people never even heard of it.
And that shows you the impact.
I hadn't heard of it.
It shows you the impact of reviewers on games.
Absolutely.
The reviewers made this game popular, and they are like selling it to.
Sure,
and that's
the
the
reason
point.
I bought it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point that like a certain angry reviewer on YouTube makes is when he's mad at Nintendo is saying, "We sell your games, I promise you."
Oh yeah.
And like I had not heard of Nier until I had watched some videos from some of my favorite YouTubers on it,
Yep.
who had nothing to do with that company. They're not paid to do it, but I was like, "This looks fucking awesome."
Yep.
So I think that proves the point right there.
Yep.
We wouldn't have heard of that game without those guys.
For sure.
No, fucking number 5. I wonder if we're going to hear about 80 million soon. GTA 5.
Yeah.
5.
I think
we're gonna hit 80 million?
Well, they just got 2 more.
Yeah, Mason and I just contributed to that.
Oh, man. 4 Zelda, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's a high given that it requires a new system. I mean, it's on Wii U.
Not necessarily, because I was actually planning on buying it on Wii U.
But only 13 million people have it.
Not a lot of people have a Wii U,
so
even if they all bought it on Wii U, that's only 13 million.
And I think Nintendo said that it's the biggest launch game of theirs ever, of their personal games, or at least since Ocarina of Time or something. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which also the Switch was their biggest.
I'm so fucking pumped to play Zelda.
Oh
I was going to go buy it before this podcast. I'm definitely going to buy it today, though.
Yeah? You can get it on Wii U?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be buying on the Wii U and probably streaming it too.
Hell yeah,
so
dude.
It'll be fucking awesome.
I'm thinking, no matter what happens, I'm going to buy a Switch within like a month or 2 prior to Mario launch.
Okay, cool.
Or at least when if it's really dead at some point. I was hoping to get a price drop on it, but I don't know if they're going to do that soon. We'll see. 3 makes sense. Lego Worlds.
Yeah.
The kids play it, and people who are into Lego play it.
Yeah.
Those games always sell really well.
Yeah.
2 Horizon, which for a exclusive is crazy.
A brand new.
It's sold
IP
almost 3 million copies already. It hasn't been out a month.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's crazy.
And then 1 is Ghost Recon, which we just talked about. What the fuck's going on there?
Mason and I talked about this last week on our podcast, how it sold, like, what is it, 2.8?
Horizon?
2.6
in the first
2.6
in its first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks.
Fucking
It's crazy.
ridiculous.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I was like,
Well,
holy
it's
shit.
it's just a mix of like they did a good job of marketing. There were commercials, and it got like an 89 or 90 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
If you take time, it got delayed twice. If you just give the developers time, and they make a great game that's not broken when it comes out, it sells well. What do you know?
Funny how well that works.
Crazy. Okay, quickly moving on to the next one. March 28th is the release of the next Battlefield 1 expansion.
Oh, yeah.
With Verdun and all of that awesome stuff. And they're adding the French army, and they're adding a bunch of new weapons, a bunch of new maps, a new game mode. Anyone think about picking that up? Maybe not right off the bat, but...
maybe not right off the bat, but eventually it will.
I think it'll get me back into the game.
Yeah, definitely not right off the bat.
Especially since we're not playing For Honor anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Whenever we come back to it, like I don't know if we're gonna keep playing GTA.
Yeah.
I'll be playing Horizon for a while. Hopefully, when they fix Mass Effect, I'll play that.
We gotta get that money, Mason. We gotta get that money.
Dude, I'm slinging this dick like, as much as I can.
I've been trying to pimp Mason on the corner on GTA, but no one's picking him up.
It's just I can only do so much. I'm not a machine, Kevin.
Get breast implants. Surprise them when they get
They cost money. They fucking cost more money, man. I'm telling you.
So
hard out here for average sized white man.
I just wanted to... God damn it. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because it's coming out at the end of the month and it looks fucking awesome, to be honest.
Below average. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's your dick, not Battlefield 1, right?
Well,
a little bit of both.
Next
All right,
topic.
the final news topic before we bust into our stuff. Did you guys hear about the leaked Destiny 2 poster?
Yes. Without helmets.
No.
Does anyone care?
I'm
interested.
I'm interested, but just
Cautiously optimistic?
Yes, cautiously. Exactly. That's a great way.
Because here's the thing: if you can keep it mechanically the same as Destiny, and then add all the stuff we wanted, then it's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't think they're going to make the same mistake the second time.
Okay, but my question, because we're all kind of in the same boat, I think with
we
Destiny,
all had the same
where
reaction.
we really appreciate that game.
Yeah.
Didn't stick for any of us.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is, what could have changed to make you?
The story could have been better
Because they got unilaterally destroyed for that reason.
Right.
I mean, it sold well, and there's a lot of players, but there's a ton of people like us who all had similar issues with it, and they heard us loud and
I
clear.
think the whole like play style is a little weird too. Like you kind of had like this central hub area, and just kind of like did shit over and over and over and over again. And like, I don't know. I think they could have been improved.
People like that though. That
I know,
weird,
that's what I'm saying.
That dungeon grinding.
Yeah, dungeon grinding.
Yes, I hate that crap.
Yeah. But like, I love Diablo.
Is there a middle ground there that we can find?
That's what I'm saying. I wish there was a middle ground that could come up with like an open world that we can do, like say random bosses or something.
Yeah. I mean,
or separate the story from the multiplayer in the sense of like you have a single player, or you can have friends in it, but it's its own extremely cinematic Halo style storyline that you can go play mission by mission, and then they have like an open world for your multiplayer running around with friends fighting bots. Just break it up into pieces instead of
a lot of what Borderlands does.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were going to say Borderlands. Yeah, that game I think does it really well.
Yeah, Borderlands does what like I was wanting from Destiny.
Yeah,
Destiny felt very like, I don't know the
confused
terminology to put, but choppy. Where like you're in this section and then loading screen, you're in this section.
Yeah, I think confused.
Like everything was very instancy.
Yeah, I think it was just a little confused on what it wanted to do. Like it wanted to do too much. And just got confused. Like, you know what? I want to do this and do this and this. And I'm like, it's not going to work if you try to throw everything into one level, you know? Like,
but as a shooter, it felt awesome.
Felt great.
And actually, I don't think a shooter since Destiny has felt as nice except Overwatch.
Yeah.
Right. But Destiny has been, to me, the best feeling shooter that I've played since it's come out. Wasn't the best shooter, but it felt really nice. So if they can clean up everything from the first one and still make it feel like the first one did, I think it will be a great game. Yeah. So I'm interested, and if it fails and sucks, I don't care.
Just wait till afterwards.
Exactly. It's a little weird. Did you notice that they don't have helmets on that poster? They in the first you're
right. They don't.
In the first poster for Destiny 1, there was like they're all clad in armor and everything. So I'm thinking maybe those characters, maybe they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna focus on maybe character."
Maybe these will be NPCs.
Yeah, or NPCs are like adding characters to the. Because they're giving you a face to recognize now. Yeah. So
I'd also really like to see, with how popular class-based shooters have become, if they expand more on that.
Yeah, I think so too.
More instead of 3 classes,
like in Overwatch.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Have more classes and
make them more distinct.
More differences in the classes, and clearly when you're playing this one, it feels like you're playing that one, and whenever you're playing a different class. You totally have to change your mindset of how.
Remember before the game, we were like, "I'll be a Titan, you'll be a hunter, I'll be a sniper." We thought it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. I think they would have benefited if it added more like RPG elements to it and like more MMO elements, like making the class distinctive. Like
wasn't the only real difference like their power move?
Yeah,
right?
that was the only difference.
The only difference.
Yeah.
Oh, and how they jump.
Oh yeah, and how they jump.
They had different
jumps.
They're
melee.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, the warlock had like a magic blast, and then the Titan just like punched somebody right in the face.
And the hunter had the staff with the knife.
It
was exact same.
Same animation,
aesthetic differences.
Yeah, and then I think the hunter had a double jump.
Yeah, the warlock floated.
But I think the Titans have more hit points, but be slower and like really break that down.
Exactly.
The hunter less, but quicker, and like, maybe like a little cloaking device or something. I don't know. Something just add more depth to each class.
For me personally, I think I wanted the gear to be more distinctive too.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Diablo.
Yeah,
the statistics.
Yes.
Need to be more distinctive.
Better loot.
Better loot, and just like
get rid of the random shit.
Or Borderlands again.
I
think Borderlands would be the king if you talk about loot.
No, I really think like they just need to Borderlands the game up a bit.
Yeah.
And then Overwatch the classes a bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
because Borderlands did the class like skill tree thing that was really cool. With
and for each character was so.
There was like 3 skill trees for
when
each.
They came out with I don't know how into Borderlands you were, Jimmy. I know you brought it up before.
Yeah.
I played Borderlands 2 a lot, and when they came out with the DLC, there was not the Pyromancer, but
the Psycho.
The Psycho, and then they had another one after that. The Necromancer.
The
Psycho, man.
The Psycho's badass.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, he's like you get hit more, you get stronger.
If you get hit, you light on fire, and then fire makes you stronger, and then like you would just if you scream and shit. But that game.
Yeah,
really cool.
I would like, if I'm playing Destiny, I'd like to feel like the class that I chose
made a difference.
Makes a difference in terms of like if we're playing cooperatively,
like a boss.
Like I'm actually contributing in a way that no one else is.
Yeah,
and without me playing that it would be significantly more difficult
Yes,
for the
exactly.
group to do.
Like an Overwatch.
Like an MMO boss fight, you know? Like, you want to feel like you're
Or
contributing.
everyone to play their role.
Yeah,
That's a whole other part of it, where just the bullet sponge boss fights, where you just shoot.
Oh, yeah.
There was no kind of like difference in each boss. They were just massive, and they just you just fired at them.
I think
endlessly
I think they need to develop a little bit more. That's just how those types of games are, though. I wish that they would. I wish that they would.
Kevin, you sound like shit.
I know, dude. I wish that they would kind of elaborate on that a little bit more. You know?
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right.
Yeah, there's a lot that they can do to make it a lot better. Just
and I feel like they
keep the
heard
same shooting format.
I feel like they heard everyone's complaints. So
yeah.
They did, and the game got it did sell, but it didn't get very great critical. It got like 7s almost.
Yeah.
Unanimously.
Kind of average. Yeah.
So people were just like better than average, but yeah, exactly. Just like it didn't blow anyone's away.
Still in the top 10 on Twitch too.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all, because
Right,
there's like people who watch that shit. They're like, "Oh, how did you get this piece?
Crazy.
Or how did you get this?"
Crazy.
Yeah.
Really,
But like you were saying
really,
earlier about reviewers and streamers kind of making the marketing for most games.
Yeah.
Which
like independent YouTube reviewers
Yeah.
and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I have switched. I used to kind of go based off of the big guys.
Yeah.
And I have found voices in the YouTube community that just
yeah.
represent more. I feel the same way a lot of the time. I use them.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not planning on buying a game day
Do you
one.
feel like the big name reviewers are like kind of not held back kind of by like their brand that they're representing?
Not after the Mass Effect review.
I don't think that I hate the whole when people are like IGN's paid.
Yeah, no,
it's a fun to joke around with that.
Yeah, I mean like more of like filtering like what they're saying. Like they can't just speak their mind.
I feel like they have to filter a little bit. I feel like they have to ease up a little bit too, because if you give a game, because the problem with scoring is that it's super arbitrary.
No one ever uses the full scale of the whole.
No, and I promise, like in my reviews, I try to do that. Like I don't know, I'm gonna do a For Honor review here really soon. It'll be out early next week, and I'm gonna use the full scale.
Yeah.
So they don't seem to use it. I feel like a lot of the big publications go from about 7 to a 9.
9, yeah.
And that's kind of like they just use like 7 as their average. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But so like when games get a 7, whatever, they have to be like, "Oh, that's a good score," and everyone freaks out, and it's just So they just have to give everything like 7s and 8s. I feel like I don't know.
I think that's what my feeling was initially. That's why I like steered away from those big guys.
And they survive on advertising.
Yeah.
So no, they're not being directly paid.
Yeah.
But the fact is that Mass Effect Andromeda and all these games, I know they gave it like 7 or something like that. But like these games advertise on their site, they're getting paid by these companies. And I do think it in some way influences the way that they give a score. It's not a bribe, but if your site and your company is running on advertising for the products that you're reviewing, there's a bit of conflict of interest there.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I mean, remember like I think 2 podcasts ago, the one without Kevin, Ian, you and I were talking about Ghost Recon, and we were going over the reviews, I think on Metacritic, or the review roundup rather on GameSpot. And then I don't remember who the reviewer was, but they scored it positively because the glitches that were happening to them were funny.
Yeah,
which tells you right there that it's obviously really subjective. Because to me, that would take.
I just feel like there's not. I just feel like a lot of these critics on the big sites are not critical enough anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
They just let so much go.
Do you also think that sometimes we as human beings kind of want to find reviews that validate
what we felt?
100%.
Yeah, like
I'm guilty.
If I want to look at like good reviews, I'm like, I'll look at this review. I'm like, that looks good. Yeah, and just like validate what you already your original opinion.
That's such a true statement.
You find reviewers who think the way you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are into the same kinds of games.
Yeah.
And that's why, and that's why I love YouTube so much, and this YouTube community is because they're not afraid to give a game a low score when they will break my. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I was hoping, and I generally know I'm probably going to feel the same way because I've found people that tend to think about games the same way that I do.
Yeah.
And like what they like in games and what they want out of them.
I've done the same thing.
And so I just prefer to do that, And so I've just been trying to be really critical recently because we spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who does buy a lot of games.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm not sure, because I want to play them, even if, like, Mass Effect, you guys decided to hold off.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see if it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay $60.
Well,
and so some people are like, dude, don't give EA $60.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but I have to know what's wrong with it. I want to critique this game.
Go ahead.
That's a great jumping point, and I want to go ahead and start with saying, you know what? And the reason why Mason and I decided not to, and I know this sounds really dumb, but I do not want to ruin the Mass Effect series for myself.
I can't wait to talk to you about
and
this.
And that will.
Yeah, and it will. And I've seen stuff that is just like almost unplayable to me. I can't deal with that. I would just hate. I would be too critical of that series and give it like the shittiest review.
Oh, I'm going to compare it. Yeah. I'm comparing it right now to the original game.
And I want to hear that. So,
and Kevin, you and I talked about that before. I'll just go through it briefly.
No,
but
go
we
ahead,
kind of
bro.
talked about. I don't want Jimmy to die. But we talked about when I was asking you, like, should I buy it, man? Because you were on the fence of like, I'm going to wait till that shit's fixed, so Mass Effect's not ruined.
And they will fix it.
And then Ian is on the other side of the fence where he's like, well, we don't obviously do this professionally, but we do have a responsibility to talk about these games.
Absolutely.
That's just my passion.
Right, yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about it the way it was put out so I can have an unbiased, honest opinion. Or wait and play it because I enjoy it.
Or you get a group together that all does
Or you do this shit and then, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
I let you guys make the hard choices and I just chill out in the middle and do that.
And if it was any other game, I would not have said, oh, I'm going to wait off on it.
Right, yeah.
But Mass Effect is so near and dear to my heart that I can't do that to myself.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. So, but I get the whole. Your point is like we are responsible to give an opinion about a game,
right?
You know, and we should be playing it day one regardless.
So we just make.
I don't think "should" is the right word. I think you are 100% in the right, and I feel similarly.
Yeah.
We're just our approach is a little bit different. Is all it is.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I wanted to know because a lot of times too.
Yeah.
And this is partially true, and when we jump into Mass Effect, we'll go into this. But a lot of times, something like this whole animation thing, like the internet is.
They blow things up,
and they can really make it seem a lot worse, and they have.
Yeah,
I will say they made it seem worse than it really is.
We had the same. I was discussing this with Jimmy the other day. They had the same case with the Switches. Remember when they're like, you found the statistics like 1 in every 10,000 Switches are like
having problems.
But they take all those videos and compile it into one and put it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 in 10,000 is not bad for launch.
Yeah.
No.
It does suck.
It does suck.
I mean,
especially if you're one of those ones.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you get into the Switch, like it probably could have used a little bit longer in the oven.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
I will say they're when we get into it, there are some problems I ran into. But
how do you guys want to do that? So you want to do Switch Zelda first? You want to do Mass Effect first?
Let's do Switch Zelda first because that's been older. So
yeah. Good idea.
Let's do that first.
Let's start with the Switch, Jimmy. Like, just give me your the good, the great, the bad, the ugly, everything.
Yeah, sure. So I picked up the Switch. Was that launch day?
Yeah.
It was, man.
Yeah, you guys went midnight, didn't you?
No, just the day of. Just after work.
Yeah, the day of
after
Friday,
work. Right? March 1st?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'll start with, when I was unpacking it, the tablet was smaller than I actually thought.
Yeah.
I feel like the videos and screenshots we've seen are a little skewed.
Yeah.
But it's not much bigger than the iPhone 6 Plus screen. Mm-hmm. It's about this big.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. For some reason I thought I do this and everyone's listening like, what the fuck is he doing with his hands?
Moving his hands back.
Eventually we'll have a whole video set up on top.
Right.
I feel like what do you think? Like 5 inches in diameter, like across.
Oh geez, I'm not gonna throw out a fucking.
A little smaller than the video.
A little smaller than I thought. Yeah. Everything about it was smaller. Yeah. The buttons, the joysticks, the Joy-Cons. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
You're good.
You don't want to talk about dicks, Jimmy?
Oh, I love dicks. In fact, let's stop.
Can we just?
I'm gonna name this episode the Dick Cast.
Yeah.
There's a big blurred out image behind it.
Like let's just everyone plop out.
Just lay them out on the table.
Lay them out on the table. And let's just we'll be bros forever.
An audio only JO session.
Oh my god. Train into the woods.
All right, guys. Well, that was episode 8.
Yeah, I know, right?
We have things to do.
I know. I felt though like when I was holding it, because I felt the tip. That was weird. Okay, I felt like when I was holding the Switch that it was bigger than I thought it would be for me, because the reason why is I didn't really see a ton of reviews for it. I don't know if you did or not, but I didn't go in there with a lot of expectations.
Reviews.
You know, so I didn't go in there with a lot of expectation just because I was like, I'm not gonna get a Wii right away. I already had that mindset, so I just ignored reviews. And then when I gave it to me to like play with, you know, and I was like, I held it in my hand. I'm like, this is actually not a bad size. It was bigger. Let's say for.
I'm so sorry, Kevin. I'm so sorry.
You're the mature one. Come on.
No, I'm trying so. I'm so sorry.
It was bigger than a PS Vita, right?
Oh, it's a lot bigger.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
it's a lot bigger.
It's a lot bigger. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's good.
It's actually the this is just dick puns, but the size of it is almost to the point of it not being portable.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
I almost can't imagine carrying this thing around unless I have a really good. Like a laptop case.
Yeah. Case, yeah.
You know, you're going to have to carry it around in something like
They
that.
sell Zelda ones. They're really cool.
Yeah,
and I think you would want that because you want the screen to
Have you got a screen protector too? Do you
Yes.
feel like you need it, right? I heard it's like the screen's kind of plasticky and scratches really easily.
It feels just like an iPhone.
Like a tablet.
Okay.
A tablet, yeah. It's very much like an iPad, which is essentially what it is a gaming tablet.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen all the horror YouTube videos of the docks and stuff scratching it.
Is it that loose of a fit in there?
No.
It just looks like when they put it in, they're like, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bunch
The first few times that I docked it, I had to do that, but now I know exactly. I just gotten good at like whoop, putting it right in, and you know,
Come on!
feel it right exactly where it needs to go.
I was doing really well then. I was doing really well.
Is it too girthy or?
So what I've done actually is I've taken one of those felt cloths that you use to clean electronic screens with, and I have laid that on the inside. Just
So
I have no idea if I need to though, but all
Just to
these
be
videos
precautioned,
I have seen,
yeah.
I have put that in there.
I just don't understand. It just seems like they've got the little snap things for the side. Like it just seems like they could have a way to just.
Yeah.
I want it to snap in
Like
there
a
and
clip
be
on the
secure.
bottom of some kind.
Like, is it like if you move the dock, does it wobble in there, or is it pretty secure?
It's pretty secure when it's plugged in. Whenever you've got it in there correctly.
Okay.
What I think they should have done, because I was filling inside the dock and there's just these two little, I don't know how to explain it. There's two little nubs that like fitted in there.
Okay.
And that's what people are saying are scratching the screens, and if you feel them, they're just hard plastic. So when you slide it in, they're probably rubbing against hard plastic. I don't know why they didn't put some sort of felt or something.
It just seems weird to me
that.
because I've heard the Switch, which I'm really glad to hear, is for Nintendo. Like people were worried it was going to be like a Wii-ish kind of a toy feel, but it looks really nice.
It looks really sleek. It feels very expensive.
kind of heavy, yeah. Like
It down to the paint even has a texture of like. I can't describe it, but I feel like the paint also was like expensive. Like everything about it feels very, very high quality.
The original PlayStation Portable, did you ever have one?
PSP?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like that compared to a Vita is kind of similar, I think, to what you're saying. Like where the original PSP was like really heavy, really metally, and the Vita is kind of like feels like an iPhone. Yeah. So is that what you would kind of? Would you compare it more to like the original PSP?
It feels like hardware. That's all the reviews I've seen. They were like, "Wow, this feels like Apple product, like really nice." And it's
exactly.
It looks really good. And then they're like, "I don't know why the dock is like 10-cent China plastic."
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
This is such a beautiful piece, and I'm putting it in this like toy.
It weighs like 2 kilograms.
Oh, that's
It weighs like nothing.
I hope they'll
like a
watch
big
it and
toy.
like sell premium docks or something.
Yeah, right. No, and I feel like they should have like put like, I don't know, sand or something in the bottom of the dock to give it weight, because it really, if the Switch isn't in it, you could blow on that thing and it would just go plop right over. The dock is pretty trash.
Did you buy like a custom dock that they sell separately?
I don't think that. I was just being facetious.
I bought an accessory. I bought a stand to hold.
Is the kickstand as like scary gonna break as everyone has
Not
said?
at all.
No, cool.
No,
cool,
totally.
That was
not.
just an overreaction.
Yeah,
Good.
I did buy though a stand to hold the tablet for instead of using the kickstand. It was like $12. It's like a cool little stand that like lets you turn it, and raise it and stuff. And
that's really cool.
really neat little thing. Well, it hasn't come in yet, so I don't know if it's good because it's on back order. But it had good reviews and stuff. Plus, you can plug the Switch in.
Yeah.
while it's on that dock, versus on the kickstand you cannot plug the Switch in because the dock hole thing is on the bottom.
Seems like kind of an oversight to me.
Yeah, that's.
I feel there's a lot of tiny or
or it's to force you to buy the thing I bought.
Yeah, they put the headphone jack on the bottom, right?
Yeah, the jack.
Is that an issue for you, or would you prefer it on the top, or do you like it on?
No, I would prefer it.
Reviews they were like saying that like they try to rest it and then they were getting stabbed by the headphone jack.
Yeah,
because they can't.
Yeah,
I could see that. I haven't played with it plugged in mobile. I just play with it until the battery runs out, and then I dock it and continue playing on the TV.
Dude, that's actually a great idea.
Do you like the Joy-Cons on the side? I'm sorry, Kevin.
Yes.
No, I was going to say, I'm like, dude, you can lay down and be just like a lazy piece of shit. Just lay down the little tablet on your chest and just like lay down and just play.
On your chest?
Yeah, dude. And I was like, I'm just imagining myself.
Dude, don't you remember the couch from the conference?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'll elaborate on that situation.
Yeah. That was my question.
Joy-Con,
I didn't know if we were doing questions for
Yeah, do it.
My first question was whether or not you prefer to play it mobile or on the TV. And my second question was your position. Your favorite position.
My favorite position.
Yeah. Switch Kama Sutra.
Right? Okay, so I prefer playing it mobile, actually. I don't want to take it out of my house, though. I like playing it mobile throughout my home. And the reason why that works so well for me is, especially since I have a kid, if I need to be in his room watching him, the consoles aren't set up in there, and now I have a console I can take in there, dock it on like a food tray, like a TV food tray, and play right there. And it's amazing. It's amazing to be able to do that. If the wife's watching TV, I have my console that I can play right there, and so
just plug headphones in and
don't
bug each other.
And the great thing about this is, whenever you plug headphones in, it ups the audio quality. So you know how any mobile device, the Game Boys, 3DS, PSPs, they have shit quality because they have little speakers in there.
Yeah.
And even if you plugged in headphones in those, it was still the same 32-bit music or whatever. And this one, though, when you plug headphones in, it's like HD, which is awesome. So you're getting the full TV surround sound experience through headphones and mobile if you do it that way.
And that's what I meant earlier by like it being perfect for your lifestyle.
It is.
You're taking care of little John. He's put in your room, and while you're like holding him, you still play games.
Yep. A complaint I have, which is why I like it mobile, is at least for Zelda, it ran worse docked in on the TV.
What?
Yeah, visually it looked worse.
It makes sense because
it's bigger.
You're still using the same processing power of the little thing, but that scares me that your launch game for your console is struggling to run your launch game.
Yep, and I do kind of want to chalk that up to just being it's a port.
Yeah,
because it was developed for the Wii U initially, and
Right.
then they made it for the Switch. So I want to just say that may be contributing to the problem.
Time will tell.
Yeah, we don't have any other games. We don't have because the other games on it are Bomberman.
They're
which
all ports.
There's nothing that is graphically, taxing on the system.
Snipper clips,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Let's not forget.
Right?
Snipper clips.
Don't count it out. Please.
Run 720 on TV and 900 on your
tablet.
On your tablet, so on the Switch.
No, backwards because the 720p is all that the.
I thought it couldn't handle.
tablet.
I thought the TV was it reduced the quality because it can't run it as well on the television.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I could be mistaken.
Because the resolution of the tablet is 720.
Oh, it's 720 as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it goes up to 900 on. It just oversaturated colors.
Yeah, the saturation
and the
frame
rate
on
the TV, and the frame rates weren't as good as mobile, so it felt way nicer mobile. So I kind of preferred playing it on there.
I mean, I would use it mobile a lot, but I just feel like with a game like Zelda, I'd love to have it on a big TV.
We'll see with games that are designed for the Switch exclusively.
See if that changes.
See what
things.
happens.
Yeah. And by the sounds of it, Zelda might just really push it just how big it is.
Oh, absolutely. I think,
Yeah.
Well, maybe Zelda's a more, or I'm sorry, Mario might be like a more fit experience, if that makes sense.
I mean, I will say though that it mobile it's locked at frames. It runs so well, and it does not heat up at all. This thing is so tiny. I can't believe the processing power this thing has.
NVIDIA made a chip for it.
Yeah, and
Custom.
it is awesome, and it puts off no heat.
I think
Really, there's no heat on the back when you're playing.
No, there's less heat on it than your cell phone gets.
That's really
crazy.
You can feel a little warmth back there, but it's
I feel like
blown
this is
away
gonna,
by the technology.
push the tablet technology in general. I think that the Switch tablet itself.
Oh yeah, if they can take that chip that they use and start putting that chip in phones and crap.
I feel like too, like from what I'm hearing from you and everyone else that I've kind of listened to about this, if Nintendo had just said that this is a mobile system instead of saying we're a console, that the whole look at this would be different. It would be like, this is the greatest handheld gaming system
100%.
of all time, instead of this is objectively worse than every console out already. Like that's how they're like, this is a console. I'm like, well, no, it should be. You should. It's like their new DS or whatever. Like, is that how you would look at if you were in marketing? Would you be like, this is our new handheld that can also be played on TV?
Yeah,
not our new TV console system that can also be played.
It
seems like a small distinction.
With Zelda, it feels like that.
Yeah.
So, and again, we'll see as games come out if it's just because Zelda was a port.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, it definitely feels that way so far. But the difference when you dock it wasn't that much. I could just barely tell that on the tablet it ran.
Yeah, it's not
drastically
smoother. Different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you weren't seeing on to the television. You're not seeing frame rates drop below 30. Really, it just they vary between like 30 and 60. And only when there's a lot of shit happening.
Sure. Yeah.
So it still runs great on the TV. The oversaturation of colors was a little off-putting, and that might be my TV. I don't know. But anyway,
Talk
back to
Zelda a little bit.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to say on the Switch was the Joy-Cons.
Oh, yeah.
I know everyone complained about how expensive they are, but they do feel expensive.
Yeah.
And just everything about them feels really, really, really nice.
Yeah.
They are tiny.
Yeah, the buttons look tiny. Are they pretty good still? Or?
Yes, I actually am so much more into smaller peripherals now. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but the smaller joysticks and smaller buttons for my hands felt great. People with big hands, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to get that Pro controller. But for my hands, they're relatively.
What about the little dock
small.
controller?
That feels totally comfortable.
Awesome.
Comfortable enough that I don't want to get that Pro controller.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally content with it. So we'll see after more extended use. But at the Switch conference, when we all saw that guy get on the couch, it was it looked so dumb. I tried it, and at first I was like, this feels really weird. And then I got comfortable. And if you have one hand, leaning off the side of the couch, and the other one just wherever. Playing a game, it felt really good.
Really?
It felt really good. It
definitely does
was
not
weird.
contribute to your posture. You can definitely be a lazy piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because, he handed me the Joy-Cons, and I was still holding it like you would with a normal controller, and he's like, dude, no. Relax.
Oh, yeah. I gave Kevin two
yeah.
separate Joy-Cons, and he put them together.
Yeah. He's like, relax. I'm like, oh.
I'm like, yeah.
Relax, Kevin.
I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm like massaging.
Did he rub his
his
shoulder?
shoulders.
Give you the elbow in the back?
Yes.
While you were,
Hell yeah, dude.
man, all right.
But then, I started doing that.
Little wooden flute.
Little oil.
Yeah.
It's got really weird. But as soon as I started slouching, I was like, dude, this is the most amazing experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's like playing a game just like sitting like this. You remember when we used to be roommates and we'd be like playing with the
I would
Xbox
play like that.
Oh, yeah,
do that. You can totally do that.
You can do all types of shit now. You can be a contortionist.
Yeah,
Zelda if you want to. The other thing that I haven't tried yet, but I really want to, and the internet is just going crazy about this, is how Zelda is unintentionally the best co-op video game because of handing one Joy-Con to somebody and the other Joy-Con to another person.
Wait, what?
And going through the game like that with your friend.
Yeah, it could be like a Let's Play thing.
Yeah. People are like, it is so fun and so infuriating.
With your friend. That is genius. Have you ever tried that with a controller?
No?
It's terrible.
You can do that with Xbox now. Do you know that?
What do you mean?
Sorry to totally derail this.
No, yeah.
They have a way of you can map out one control scheme on two controllers now.
So
if you're a little kid, or even if you just want to play with your friend, like your friend can control like the ducking and the shooting, and your other friend control the jumping and the running.
Oh wow!
And you can have two people playing like the same. No, right,
interesting. That's cool.
Very cool. I just one day, if any of you are over, like I want to give it a try.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fucking fun.
It was part of their. It was part of their move. They're doing it because there's like a huge amount of people, disabled gamers, who aren't able to hold like a controller with two hands. Yeah. So it's like allowing people like disabled gamers to play.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
That is really cool.
So Zelda time? Are we getting to Zelda?
Yeah,
or are you having
exactly.
Final Switch
just to wrap up the Switch, I can see it working for a lot of people and not working for a lot of people, but for me and my lifestyle, I love almost everything about it. It has a little, like the charge port on the bottom, that's annoying and stupid. It's got little things like that, but nothing that's a huge issue for me. So I'm loving it.
Basically, we just got to make sure that Nintendo corporate doesn't find a way to ruin everything.
Yeah,
because it sounds like they did a great job with the console itself.
Yep, it's a great console, and it's the best mobile video game platform ever. I think it's just so fucking awesome.
I can't wait.
Bold words.
Yeah, right.
Bold words.
Especially given that Nintendo has the best ones, the Game Boy.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Game Boy was the best because it was the first mobile video game console that worked.
But
and, like,
they've improved upon everything,
Yeah, but this is... it really feels like you have a powerful home console on the go now. Which is like what the PSP promised and the PS
Vita. The Vita promised. They didn't really do it, though.
This pulled it off. So let's jump into Zelda.
We're going to probably go an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah. We're about an hour now, so...
Cool.
Yeah.
So Zelda, jeez, it's getting 10s and 9s at the lowest from pretty much every
7 is the lowest I've seen.
Yeah, 7
from you know who.
Yeah, exactly, and I get it too. There are a few issues. So the way like I kind of like review games for myself, no game can be a perfect 10.
Yeah.
Therefore,
10 doesn't mean perfection.
Yeah. Therefore, games that I am so 100% satisfied with get 10s.
Yeah.
So Zelda is an absolute 100% without a doubt 10 for me. It's not perfect, but it is a 10. It's the best Zelda game I've ever played, and it's probably in the top 5 video games I've ever played. It's just a masterpiece, a classic. It'll go down in history, I think, of one of the greatest games ever created. It's innovative, which if you look at it, it doesn't look like they're doing anything new. It looks like Nintendo's finally getting with open world games and what everybody seems to be doing, but they changed a lot. And what I mean by they changed a lot is the world is alive, and I've never felt that in an open world game.
Yeah.
So what I mean is this world has physics, and it has it has realistic like wildlife, and it's not riddled with a bunch of like creatures and stuff. It feels empty a lot of times. But the most impressive thing is it has physics, and it never tells you any of it. You just discover these things that it does.
That's the thing you keep hearing about it, I feel like, is that people keep doing stuff differently.
Yeah.
There's no one way to like complete any objective.
Not at all.
It feels like.
You could do anything any way you want. Nothing has an intended way that you need to complete it, including the puzzles in the games. There's an obvious, probably should be done this way, but you don't have to.
Right.
But it has real world physics. So let's say you start a fire and heat rises. You can, if you glide over something that's hot, you'll actually sustain air better because of the heat rising.
Right.
And it doesn't tell you any of that until you figure it out. I started a fire and I saw like you could see little heat waves rising, and I like paraglided on it, and it actually rose me.
There's no like hint that pops up like, hey, by the way,
I heard this is the least hand-holdy game like Nintendo's ever done.
It is. No, there are no hints in this game at all. At all.
That's awesome.
The game starts, you wake up in a cave, and you walk out, and then it's just that's the game. And you're like, whoa, where do I want to go?
That sounds very Elder Scrolls.
Very, very, very Elder Scrolls.
Like they almost were like,
yep,
let's do that.
Just go wherever you want.
That's always one of the best moments in Elder Scrolls games. You get out of the intro dungeon and you come out. And
you get arrested. You
escape. Yeah, and this game purposely, when you come out of the cave, puts you up on top of a cliff that sees everything, so you can, and everything's fully rendered at all times. So there's no pop-ins or anything, so you can see all the way across the map like a giant mountain out there, and it's great. I there's not a whole lot that I can say except that it's a fucking amazing game and everybody like needs to be playing this. I felt that the story is really engaging and really fun, and I was telling Kevin it feels like a Disney story almost in terms of the emotions.
Like it's the trailer, all the characters are showing. It looked very Disney.
Yeah, it felt very Disney inspired. There's just so much stuff it doesn't tell you. Every time I play it, I discover something new. You could travel the world by like surfing on your shield, and it never tells you that you can do that. I got halfway through the game before I accidentally pushed some buttons in a order, and then Link jumped on his shield and was just like, like just going down the cliff very quickly. Another like physics thing that the world has is in a rainstorm, you can be struck by lightning if you're wearing anything metal. So you unequip all your metal equipment whenever it's raining, because the lightning strike kills you in one hit. The AI is really intelligent. Like I was coming up on a group of just regular goblins. They're like the grunts of the game, and I found a explosive barrel. So
I've seen this before.
So I grabbed the barrel and threw it, but I didn't throw it from high enough or with enough force, so it didn't explode. And the goblins were like, what the fuck? And they turn around, they see it, and they see me, and he was like, oh fuck no, I'll show you it's done. So he picks it up and he chucks it hard.
No shit.
Hard at me, and just one it kills, and then they laugh afterwards. Like, oh, fuck,
like, that's how you do it.
Another example of the physics in the world is if you think you can do it, you probably can. Yeah. So there's like this enemy that you can kill, and it has a inflatable organ when you kill it, and you can collect it. And so I was just like, I'm going to put a bomb down, get the inflatable organ, tie it to it, and then it floated up, and I like blew. There's some items you have to make air. Yeah. And I pushed the bomb over an enemy encampment, and
then you
shot the balloon and made it fall and exploded all of them. Yeah. So you can interact with the world almost in any way that
that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. There's no invisible walls anywhere. You can climb. Every single thing you see is climbable from the beginning.
That's sick.
You can literally go everywhere you want to. Yeah. If you see it, you can go there.
That's sick.
The classic.
Yeah. It's
the classic E3 promise.
Yeah.
and this actually like does it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's awesome. Yeah. The weapon durability is stupid.
Yeah, it seems to be the chief pretty much the only thing that anyone has been able to find that they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You pick up a sword and you whack something 3 times and it shatters, and you're like, what? Now, I will say later game, the durability of the weapons is a lot better. Yeah. And so that goes away, but the first 40% of the game is you constantly break items breaking, and then you don't even want to fight things because you don't get experience. Yeah. So the only reason you would kill things is if you needed
need a new weapon.
If they're guarding a treasure chest and you want to know what's in it, or if you needed their ingredients that they drop when they die. But I found
cooking.
Which the cooking system's really addicting. But I found in the early part of the game, I was just like kind of avoiding a lot of enemies to save my weapons because I didn't feel like they were worth it. That gets better throughout the game. That's one complaint I have with it, which is why I say it's not perfect. But it has a whole weather system, so if you're climbing a mountain, the higher you get, the colder and colder it gets, and you need to start equipping clothing that warms you.
Yeah, I was going to ask, aren't you affected by that? By the weather too? Like if it's too hot or too cold?
Yep, it drains your life down, so you have to find armor and stuff, or make... like there's chili peppers scattered throughout the world, so you can cook meals with chili peppers. It gives you cold resistance.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So for like 5 minutes. So it has a lot of things like that. If you go somewhere really, really hot, like around lava, you can't have any weapons on you or shields made out of wood because they catch fire.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of these real world physics that I've never seen in a game, and it's really.
And they do it without making it overbearing. Like, God, you're just constantly cold or constantly hot, and you have to constantly cook to make.
Oh yeah, no.
It's not. It's a cool additive, right? But it's not something that's bugs you like the durability.
Not at all.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
That would be tough to balance.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you really got to get that right because it could be pointless and hardly ever affects you, or it could be so constant that you're like, God, I'm always cold. So that's really cool they got that right.
And the game's difficult. Combat is engaging, and it's very Dark Souls actually. This feels like
lock-ons and everything.
Yep, and enemy patterns, figuring them out, and then just figuring out how to approach a situation. It feels like easier Dark Souls, but it is difficult. I died so many times in that game.
I think it's really cool that they're taking flyers from other games and from some Western games too. Like, I mean, Dark Souls is a Japanese game, but I've heard it's like they have like Dark Souls and some Elder Scrolls, and like they take cues from other great games and they just build upon them.
The Ubi Towers, are scattered all over the place, which
Just a really quick insertion there about that. Horizon is the first game with towers that are. I see them and I'm like, oh yes, a tower,
the giant giraffe.
Yeah, and you have to like climb up. You have to find they're like little puzzles, and there's like environments that are kind of around those big things that are walking, and they're mobile.
Yeah.
And you have to find like the right area and jump. And she's like climbing up this spine thing, and then you get up there, and it's like this big moving. And she gets in there and shows the map, and then she jumps off and throws the rope. It's like the coolest. Yeah. They're like, how do we make this just ridiculous and fun? I just want to throw it
and to that point, they did that in Zelda. I've seen the towers in Horizon. They didn't do it as like elaborate and awesome, but every tower you approach in Zelda, there's a different way to climb it, a different environment. You have to use different. I wouldn't call it magic in the game, but you have an item that lets you do different things like telekinesis and stasis and freezing water to create platforms. So it makes you do different things every time to get to climb. It's not just you find a tower, climb it, and then you got the map unlocked. They do make it interesting each time. Not as much as Horizon does, though. But it's definitely not just like a Far Cry tower system.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that's
recommend it.
Absolutely.
One of the great games of all time.
Shitty game, right?
I could talk about it forever, and I'm not going to because.
What is it about role-playing games they seem to like when they nail them, they're always like one of the great games ever.
Yeah.
And they come out every like 4 or 5 years. It seems like it's RPGs that always, not every time.
I think it's because it's hard to nail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do. I feel like it's pretty rare, like you said.
Yeah. Rare, very rare, yeah. So, Ian, you want to talk about Mass Effect now?
Yeah,
Switch
and it won't be too long because I'm not that far in the game.
Yeah.
I'll give updates every week that we do a podcast.
Sweet.
Did you have any final thoughts or any wrap-ups you wanted to do just real quick? Or
No.
Okay, I didn't want to cut you off if you had like one more thing to say.
I love the Switch, and Zelda is a 10 out of 10.
Sweet. Sweet.
I think that Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be like one of the hardest games I've ever reviewed.
Really? Conflict of interest?
Yeah, I was going to say,
no,
for you?
Not because of conflict of interest. Yeah. In fact, as objective as I can be, being really objective and like not putting my Mass Effect love in there, it's still really hard to review because like I feel like the reviews I've read have been too extreme in either direction. People are giving it 9s. You can't. No.
Yeah.
No fucking way. There's no way this is a 9. I'm only like 4 hours in. Absolutely not a 9. But then I'm seeing like 5s and 6s. That's too low. It's definitely better than average. Yeah. And like, there's not one thing about Mass Effect I'm like, this fucking sucks. Yeah. Like, it's all these tiny little things that like
add up.
They add up.
Yeah, they add up.
And so I'm really enjoying the experience so far. Like, I want to play it. I think about it. So I mean, it's got its hook in me. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's not like it's some shit game. Yeah. But there's always a little reminder that it's not quite as good as Mass Effect series, the original series. Yeah. Like, just always something. There's something wrong. Like, everything I find that I really like about it has got that ball and chain with something that I don't. Yeah. And a lot of it's fixable. Mm. So, like, if you guys want to pick this up in a few months, if after some patches, a lot of that will be fixed. A lot of it's not. And my first takeaway is that I don't think they'll do it, but I think EA needs to stop making BioWare use a Frostbite engine. Yeah. Not designed for this. Yeah. Do you remember I had 2 issues. I loved Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah. I really liked it a lot. Yeah. I gave it 8.5, but I had 2 major problems with it. Okay. It was all the collectathon quests, just lazy filler. Yeah. And the other problem I had with it, and it was really obvious after I played Witcher too, was that, you know, when you go up and you talk to someone and it's not one of the primary conversations and it's just that static camera and they have no animation, they just stand there and they're like, hey, man. And it's like, it makes the most boring, you're like moving the camera around because you're like, oh my god. You know, in Witcher, you go up and talk to a random stranger who only has one thing of dialogue, it still goes into the camera and you see facial expressions, and it just adds that layer of like, I like this conversation, and they do that, and I think it's part of this Frostbite engine. Yeah. This game looks exactly like Dragon Age Inquisition. Oh wow! Like the first planet that you arrive on, it's like the Fade reskinned. There's floating rocks with lightning and like little like balls of like floating rock. I'm like, this is. This is the Fade with blue sky.
I haven't heard that. That's really interesting that you bring that up.
The Frostbite engine is so easy to see how BioWare uses the Frostbite engine. Yeah. This game looks exactly like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Which is a lot like Bethesda's. Their
exactly. They keep using that same engine, and it's like, I can tell you're still using the same engine.
And I think it's because the games are gonna sell. Yeah. And they can continue using the same engine. Yeah.
Well, I don't blame, and that's the thing too, is everyone's like giving the developers shit. Yeah. And, you know, maybe they didn't do enough testing. This game just needed 6 more months in the oven. Yeah, yeah. You know, EA pulled the cookies out of the oven. They saw that the sides were a little bit done. They're like, it's good. Yeah. Put it out. This game should have released in August or maybe September. And I think it would have been a little better.
I kind of got that vibe because in the last podcast, Mason and I were talking about how the animator from EA or BioWare saying how like he tweeted like, oh yeah, that ship sailed.
Yeah, that was.
He's like, he was
literally quoted saying that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I know he did.
Wait, what?
Well, I have a hard time blaming developers, even when they deserve it. I'm just kind of biased. I just think that EA and Activision, I just think they're dirtbags. I don't trust them. And I'll give them due, you know, like I did with Ubisoft and For Honor. Like, you know, good job, you did something different. But like, I just feel like this is, so far for me, this is Bethesda had Fallout 4 and BioWare has Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah. Not a bad game by any means. Yeah. And there are parts of the story I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I can't wait to see how this unfolds. A lot of the story is good. Yeah. But the voice acting is really hit and miss. Like, some of it's fantastic.
I heard that. No.
Some of it is fantastic. The writing is, everything about this game is so black and white for me. Yeah. Like, I'll be like, oh, this is great. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, so I'm like, I'll be talking to a person, and then, you know how they still do that thing, that you know, with all the Mass Effect games, where they're like, when you're done with the conversations, they're like, and I'm done.
Yeah, I know.
They do that weird, snake walk-off thing, like, it looks really awkward. Yeah. And then it'll snap out of the conversation camera, and they walk through my guy. Yeah. There's just a bunch of little, Like, you just needed more time with it. Why did you release this game? I've said that so many times.
I know you're not far enough into it yet. You said like 4 or 5 hours in, right?
Yeah.
I've heard the romance options are really, really like real life.
I
Really
haven't met all the
characters.
I haven't met all the characters yet, so I don't know. I there's definitely one romance option that I've met so far, and she's all right. The voice acting's okay. It's not the voice acting so much. It's like the writing gets. Like, sometimes it's really good, and other times it's like they say these one-liners that are so fucking bad. It's like,
I've seen one.
Who's doing, like, who? No one talks like this.
Yeah.
You can't. There's too many great story-based games out now.
Yeah.
You can't mess that up with a Mass Effect when you've got these Uncharted and Last of Us and Witcher and all these games with like great story and voice acting and writing.
Right.
You can't afford to mess this up.
No.
Like the way your character becomes Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Is like such a lazy, you know. I don't want to give anything away, but you become the Pathfinder, and he's like, "Oh, but aren't you next in line?" She's like, "Yeah, but he wanted you to do it, and that's the reason." And it's just like,
I don't want to.
It feels to me like this game. They made this game in pieces,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if those departures that they had.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that has caused some of this. Because this game has like highs that I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be a 9, and then it has lows like I want to give it a 6, and it just whoop, up down, up down, up down, up down, up down.
That's unfortunate.
But I'm still gonna suggest when it's patched, you should play it.
Oh yeah, I still plan
the
on
story,
We all plan to,
the idea of what's happening is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like they give you a ship, and they're like, hey, look. Basically, what happens, this is like right in the beginning of the story, and pretty much stuff that if you've read any previews, you'd already know. Right. They sent these people with all the stuff to build what they call the Nexus, which is a space station.
Yeah.
They send them out a year ahead of time to get everything set up for the arcs that are bringing all the different races.
Yeah.
Why is it always named the Nexus?
Yeah.
In every game, Central Up, it's the Nexus.
It's the Nexus. That's a good idea. I don't know what it is. So all the arcs show up. And your arc ship shows up, and you have some problems.
Yeah.
Eventually, you get through the intro problems, and you get to the Nexus.
Yeah.
And like, it's empty, and it's just this big mystery.
Oh.
And then it's really cool. And then you figure it all out, and there's people there, and they've had problems.
Yeah.
None of the planets that they wanted to colonize have worked out. It was a huge disaster. None of the arcs have shown up. You're the first arc they've seen. They've been there a year.
Oh wow.
It's so cool, and they're like. And then, so the whole thing of the game is like, you're the Pathfinder, you need to help us colonize a world.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, like, that's the hook. Like, this is a really cool, I liked it the way that they're like, the justification for the exploratory. Kind of it's like, feels like Star Trek.
Yeah.
Versus Star Wars. Star Trek is like, we're just exploring we're looking for a world. Yeah. So it's a really cool setup. I love the idea. There's parts of the story that are really good.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just not consistent at all. It's totally inconsistent.
That sucks.
Highest of highs and lowest of lows so far.
I had a question because I saw that it has this gameplay mechanic, and it's one of my least favorite mechanics in games. Zelda actually has it too. You're taking pictures of fauna and stuff to get information
the scanning,
on it.
yeah.
Yes. Is that something, wherever you're walking, you're always having it out and like feeling really OCD, like I gotta scan everything?
No, the scanning, I actually really like it. You just hit down on D-pad, and it's like a way that they give you exposition without just standing around. It lets you interact with stuff. So like you'll get, basically they introduce it to you in specific parts. So they're like, we need to find a way out of here, or like, what is this place? And then you use it, and you can like scan it, and they'll be like, you're discovering stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a whole new galaxy, so it's like, oh, it tries to like break down what this plant is, or like there's like ancient buildings, and it tries to tell you how old they are, and like what their makeup is, and it prompts dialogue from the characters, like what could this place be?
Yeah.
I actually like it. I don't mind the scanning too much.
Yeah, but
and
you didn't feel like you
missions that
had
make you
to
use
always have it out, like always constantly be scanning things.
No, I don't. There's no. It gives you like a few extra items and experience and stuff, but no, it's more like the investigation parts in like Batman and Witcher.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which Witcher for me has done it the best. I loved going around and you find the footsteps and the
and
blood, and
stuff.
he has like his little story. He's like, oh, I must go over here, and like you feel like a hunter, you know?
Yeah.
In this, you feel like a explore.
Yeah.
It's more out of curiosity, like, oh, what's this big mushroom tree?
Yeah.
Like, and then they talk about the mushroom tree and how, like, what it is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, it's their way of giving you background and
Right.
stuff. So
That's good.
It's not too bad. And there's just moments of storyline that'll make you use it, and it'll like you have like this little pulse sound. And you're like, oh, it means I need to use this now. And
Okay.
it's just really easy. It doesn't. The Frostbite engine, though, I don't like the way it makes people look. I don't like the fact that it looks so much like Inquisition.
Yeah.
And the menus, the menus are fussy.
Yeah.
And you got to use the bumpers and the stick because there's like
What?
all this shit.
What
You
the
have
fuck?
these different sections in the menu, and then each menu has a different section. And like when you put your skill points in, the only button to use is B to go back.
Yeah.
And it'll bring up this thing going, are you sure you want to save your skill points? And I hit B every time.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck! And I go back in and reapply all my skill
Yeah.
points. Like, why are you making me save
Yeah.
skill points?
Yeah.
Again, nothing that's like, there's no huge thing. It's just all these little things. Like, what
That add
the
up
fuck were you
together.
guys thinking?
Yeah.
And
That
it's
sucks.
just really irritating.
That's very unfortunate because I wanted this to be like the next trilogy, and it's not.
No
you
way.
know?
And there's the developer problems. They had some design issues.
Yeah.
But this should have come out in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or this time next year, even,
Yeah.
just to avoid the Red Dead Redemption train that's going to
Yeah.
smash everything.
Yeah.
It should have come out maybe March 1st of next year, and this game may have been like a full point higher on the review scale just because of all the technical problems.
Crazy.
But after all that is said,
You're still.
I
interested.
want to go play it right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So you're still thinking about it when you're not playing it?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
I think
because
that's
they do a good enough job. It still
Storytelling.
feels like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Like you have all. It's good to see Krogans again. It's good to
Yeah.
see Solarians again. It's
That's
good
good.
to see Turians look a little weird
Yeah.
so far.
Huh?
They don't have like the coloration in their in their
Like they
faces.
used to, yeah.
Like, you know how they have like they would
Yeah.
be like white, and then they would have like a little bit of darkness
Yeah.
in the curves. It's all white. They're just again
Yeah.
these tiny little pinpricks of problems that I have,
Yeah.
and there's just 1,000 of them
Yeah.
that are just really small.
Yeah.
That just constantly are in the back of your head as you're playing the game.
Do you think, maybe like we were talking about earlier, that this game was aimed more toward like the casual gamer? Because I know the combat plays really well.
The
It's a lot
combat
of
is
fun.
smooth.
But for people who played the other games,
The combat feels like multiplayer from Mass Effect 3.
Oh, okay.
So the good
It's
thing about that,
more
it's
aggressive.
very fast. It's
Yeah.
very fluid. I'm playing a class I've never really used in the original Mass Effect games, like the Infiltrator.
Yeah.
So I've got a cloak, and I get behind people, and I melee them in the
Yeah.
back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, got your jetpack, and you've
Yeah.
got the boost like run thing.
Yeah.
It's very fast and fluid.
Combat, I think, looks great.
It looks great. The problem with that I have, again, everything in this game, awesome, but, and
Yeah.
it's just 100% through the game. Awesome combat, but this is personal preference. I like the combos with your two people.
Yeah.
So, like, if I had Garrus and Rex in the first game, or Garrus and Grunt in the second game,
Yeah.
I would target a Geth enemy,
Yeah.
and then I would have him get zapped by overcharge from Garrus. So there go his shields, and then I can use Grunt to fire the concussive missile and knock him over, and then I shoot him. And you know
Yeah.
those kind of
Yeah,
combos.
combos.
You don't have any control over your people except for to tell them where to go.
Wait, what?
There's the wheel is gone.
What the
It's
fuck?
like streamlined combat, bro.
Oh, no.
So they got rid of that ability to tell
to
your
tell
guys
them
what to
use
do.
skills, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah, they just use it on their own.
Yeah.
So
That's
you know what I'm
fun.
saying? Like the combat is really fun. Like I said, it's like
It's
like Mass
fast,
Effect
yeah.
3. It's fun. You're very mobile.
Yeah.
The cover system, there's no button.
You
to
feel like a badass, basically.
and
But
there's nothing to snap onto cover.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just a habit. I like to do that. And like the problem is, if there's only 2 spots for cover and your AI friends take it, because there's no button
yeah.
to get them out of there,
yeah.
they don't move and you get
Yeah.
killed
Oh, wow.
because you just automatically take cover as you approach stuff.
right? Yeah.
It just yeah. Anyway, we'll have an update for you guys
Yeah,
as
some
I
more
get.
stuff down
I'll probably
there.
get 5 or 6 more hours into it by that time, or if
Sweet.
not more. So.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Any that was
Final
kind of a long
thoughts?
one, but I kind of figured it would be.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, there's 4 of us. We
Yeah, 4 of us. We had a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
so.
plus,
But
yeah.
that's pretty much it, right?
yeah, I mean, that was great.
It's been what it was good to get everybody back
Yeah,
together.
no.
We've had
I
some.
can't wait to play Zelda. I'll pick that up today.
Yeah, for Wii U, right?
Yeah, Wii U.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm excited to hear everyone's impressions when we come back.
Yeah.
Because we're all kind of starting these big games.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
Except for Jimmy. But
Yeah.
We'll get into Horizon for you more next
Yeah.
time.
yeah, I'll have more to say. Right
Yeah,
now,
we'll be
I've kind
further,
of touched
yeah.
everything I can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
well,
sounds good.
Until next time,
Yeah.
I hope you all have a great Monday, because this is Monday when we really put this out.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe as always.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. People that are listening.
Yep, you can get it here on YouTube, or we also upload everything to our SoundCloud, and we'll have the link in the description.
Yep,
so you can
absolutely.
listen to it there if you'd like.
Perfect.
All right, guys.
Bye. Peace.
Later.